What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's Anime Degens Podcast, episode 36. We have a special guest today, a good friend of mine, Kevin Krieger. And of course, Tyler is here, as always. How you doing, guys?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Doing wonderful, bro. It's the first time for a couple things for us today. We got a guest for the first time. We got new topic, never before. We've never done this before, so it's going to be pretty interesting.
So for our topics today, we're obviously going to have Creags introduce himself, let us know when he got an anime, things like that. But we're also going to do a little final circle battle royale action. Battle royales usually have 100 players. We've got 3, so this is down to the wire.
Somebody say Fortnite?
with the mechas, so Tyler's scarred again.
I'm leaving. It's just y'all two now.
Awesome. Before we get into that, do you want to start us with some news, Tyler?
Yeah. So a lot of you people, a lot of Berserk fans, they've had a couple different tries on Berserk, but apparently we're getting a 2D anime, and they're promising to adapt the story properly from the beginning, and it's going to be made by Studio Eclipse, which is not a big name. It's not a high budget studio. I think the best way to describe them is kind of like a fan studio kind of. But they're really good. It seems like I watched the trailer for this. I don't know if y'all did or not. Anybody catch it?
I saw something really quick on Twitter, and it definitely didn't look very high budget, but it looks cool. I mean, Berserk is kind of a pretty gnarly story, so I haven't read it yet or watched the original anime, but might check this one out.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. I started reading Berserk. I haven't gotten too far, but it lives up to the hype. It's so good.
Yeah, and a couple things that Studio Eclipse has said that they're going to be adapting the Black Swordsman arc, and they will not be censoring or toning anything down. 3D CGI will not be used, and it will be voiced in English and Japanese. So I'm pretty excited for this because Berserk, like we said, it's a pretty graphic and mature manga, and for them not to be censoring anything, it's gonna stay true to its nature, I guess you could say. So I'm really excited about it.
So Tyler, since you're reading this, I know you've been reading it a little bit. Is this the first arc?
Yeah, basically. So
we're gonna see him raw dog a demon. We're gonna see him raw dog a demon.
Yep. It's literally page 1.
Yeah.
It's literally the first page.
Yeah.
Damn.
We're going to see lots of heads being cut off. We're going to see, I don't even know what this chick is, a demon chick or something. We're going to see demon chick titties. I mean, it's going to be lovely. But yeah, they said that they was going to start from the beginning and do it properly. So big props to them. Like I said, it's going to be 2D anime, which is going to be a different look, I guess. But it's not, I watched the trailer all the way through, and it actually looked pretty decent. Considering it's not any CGI, 3D CGI or whatever used, like it looks to be like, I guess, hand-drawn. So it looks pretty good for it being 2D. So
interesting. We also got a little bit of news out of the Studio Ghibli camp. So Miyazaki is working on another film, and he has decided to not retire for the 4th time. No details at this time, but the old man needs to learn how to go on vacation and fade off into the sunset. He's got to be ancient by now.
Yeah, he just can't let it go, bro. It's funny because they was doing an interview with one of his studio people or something, or his assistant, something about his assistant or something. And it was just like, I've gave up. I stopped trying to, I stopped believing that he was going to retire, and stopped trying to make him retire because he's not going to. So
he's like that old cranky guy who just keeps coming to work to collect a check.
I mean, as long as he keeps on giving us like bangers, I'm okay with it.
Definitely, man. And you got one more little piece of news for us.
Yeah, so for any of my shoujo fans out there, we got Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten season 2 finally announced. Creags might be interested in this just like I am. I enjoyed the first season pretty good, so
Yeah, I haven't checked it out, but I hear shoujo, so I'm gonna probably watch it.
yeah, it was actually like a spring anime, I'm pretty sure, and that got moved into the summer, I think, like a late bloomer, I guess, because of COVID, I believe.
Okay.
And they finally just got announced second season, so it took them a while, but they finally did it.
Well, awesome. So I guess let's get into a little introduction, a little origin story, a little filler for me and Tyler here because we're not a part of this one right away. So Krieger, let us know who you are, man.
All right. So I'm Kevin, Creagsbase on social. So I know Dan from college, and
I am part of the story.
yeah, you are. You're part of the origin story. And basically we met, and I can't remember if it was like a social event or something like that through our fraternity. And I dropped you back off at your dorm, and you notice I had a Sonic the Hedgehog lanyard on my keys. And then we started talking about Sonic, and we realized we both liked anime, and that's kind of how our friendship started. And then eventually we became roommates, and yeah, been friends ever since.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. There were some really fun days of me and Kevin at like 2-3 in the morning, just pretty turnt watching like DBZ Kai and just like skipping all the bullshit and just going to the epic fights and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's when they were dubbing DBZ Kai. I remember that now.
And if you guys have ever stopped in the Discord when we've done the anime power hour, this is the man behind the madness right here. So I'm trying to get him to make it part 2 because some of the intros are getting a little repetitive when you've done it 50 times or something like that.
when I only watched like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and like Dragon Ball and Fairy Tail. I think that was another one.
Definitely, man.
So these are definitely outdated then, huh?
Oh yeah, we got to add a whole bunch more.
Oh, this thing was made in like 2014.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was made a while ago. Jeez, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that. Jeez.
Yeah, I know Creags, he mentioned Sonic, and I know Dan's a really big fan of Sonic. I mean, he watched Uncle from Another World, I'm pretty sure, and almost gave it a 10 just on the fact that it had Sonic in it, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
It wasn't just Sonic, it was the plethora of Sega references. I mean, there's a part where he teaches one of the female characters, the song of his people. And it was like the Starlight Zone from Sonic 1, or the music they play in vending machines in Japan. I was like, this is my boy.
Vending machine, okay. I'm down.
Sorry, claw machines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
got vending machine on the mind, man.
Yeah. Peak isekai right there.
Yeah. It really is, honestly, even though Dan doesn't like it. I mean, I never understood that. It's
so
actually really funny. So
it's so stupid.
It's so good though. I don't know why I like it. It's just good. All right.
But you wanna, since we got that out of the way, kind of how you met Dan and all that good stuff, you wanna let us know how you got into anime in general?
Yeah, definitely. So like a lot of kids that grew up in the 90s in America, Toonami was my gateway to anime. And I can't remember if it was DBZ or Pokemon first, but they kind of were coincident in how I started. So I was really into Dragon Ball Z. Trunks is my favorite character of all time there in that series. And then it kind of went into Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the next one that I was really obsessed with. And then there was Yu Yu Hakusho on there, Inuyasha. I didn't watch Sailor Moon. I don't know why. I was just like, I'm not watching these girls transform. I'll watch these muscular men fight half naked.
Missed out on peak, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then, I don't know, this is a deep cut. In 2004, there was this Saturday morning cartoon program called Fox Blocks, and One Piece was on that. So that's how I started watching One Piece.
oh no, the 4Kids
Four
dub.
Kids dub. I know.
You can't beat me. I'm wet.
Oh God, don't even. You could say Karu was one lucky ducky.
You know what, man? I will say it did give us a banging theme song though. The One Piece rap is like all-time trash meme.
It's
Glorious.
like I showed it to one of my friends because he didn't know a world of that because he grew up in Australia, so they didn't have like Toonami and One Piece all there down there. So he only knew the subbed and the Funimation. So I played it for him. I had secondhand embarrassment hearing the rap again. I was like, I can't. I'm sorry.
I will say though, with a lot of the regional shows in the 90s that made it over here, they redid all the openings. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh one is the Digimon one, the Pokemon one, those are timeless. And that's
true.
not what they had in Japan. So they did a good job with some of them.
They did.
Yeah, so I didn't really watch Toonami a lot when I was a kid, but somehow I ended up watching like at least a handful of episodes of the 4Kids One Piece. I remember it. I don't know how I got to watch it or when I watched it, but during some part of my childhood, I got to watch at the very beginning when he's like jumping out of the barrels and shit on with Alvida. So it was definitely 4Kids because it was pretty trashly anime dubbed. So
Yeah.
You know what we should do, Tyler, next time we have a One Piece break? We should do a first look at the 4Kids One Piece.
Oh my God.
It'd be so bad.
The
sad thing is that we're coming up on this new the new saga, the new arc or whatever, and we're gonna get hella breaks in the coming month. So
yeah, especially if Oda takes some breaks, they're gonna have to throw some more Barto's secret room in there, whatever the hell they're doing.
Jeez, yeah, those specials kind of annoy me.
Yeah, no, I skip them.
Because, like, we just watched those episodes. I don't need a summary.
From Barto.
Not with Barto narrating.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Well, I guess to get into the age-old question, a tale as old as time, dubbed or subbed?
All right. So, early years, when I was, starting to watch anime, One Piece, your Naruto, your Bleach, streaming didn't exist. So it was kind of whatever I had on the TV, so I was a dub. And then when I don't know how I discovered this, I realized Japan was ahead of America with episodes. And I was like, wait, what? They're on episode like almost 300 of One Piece, and I'm stuck over here on like 78. So I go to the dark web, some sketchy websites, and I started watching subbed when I was like 14. So now I'm a sub guy. I've been like that, but I don't really care. You watch it however you want to watch it. Usually I'll have at least one dubbed I'm watching and then a couple subs that I watch. So
yeah, it's nice to have that dub in the bag. Like for when you're like, I want to watch some anime, but I don't really want to pay that much attention.
Yeah,
so I always watch shows. Like if I'm doing a rewatch, I'll watch it dubbed.
Not gonna lie, like them older anime, like Dragon Ball and One Piece and all that. The dubs are like phenomenal. Like nowadays, you can't find dubs that good. Usually there's at least a couple annoying dubbed characters in the newer animes. Do you feel the same way?
I feel like as long as Funimation is dubbing it, it's usually pretty good. Like there's always occasionally like a really annoying character, but you get the same thing with like Japanese sub versions too. There's always a really annoying character. So I'm indifferent at this point.
Yeah, I think if you consume a lot of dubbed anime, and to Dan's point, Funimation pretty much controls all that, you start recognizing all the voices, and that can kind of get in your head a little bit. Like Makarov in Fairy Tail is every old man in every dub.
Oh, and I mean, Zoro's voice actor is like literally in every show.
Yep, he does everything.
Yeah, but he's really good. So
He
really
is.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got that out of the way. You wanna let us know if you have like a favorite genre or category, demographic, whatever you wanna say.
Yeah, so I think my favorite is those typical, fighting shonens. I always like the long shows, your One Pieces, Bleach, Naruto's. And I don't know when this happened. This was like probably in my mid to late 20s. I started shifting to romances, and for some reason I really like watching those. So yeah, it's kind of like opposite sides of the coin here.
I feel that. I absolutely feel that. I've been trying to get Dan to watch some romances and some shoujo type stuff for a minute, and I just can't find him anything that he really likes, honestly. So
They've all been for like 16-year-old high school girls, and I'm a grumpy old man.
Damn. Yeah, I think when I first started watching anime, it was basically like Krieg said. And then I think the first shoujo I watched was My Love Story. And that just put me on a different path. And honestly, probably, shoujo shows are some of my favorites now. Like that's what I would rather watch, honestly, nowadays. So
It's because you're not into giant robots. That's the reason.
I don't think it would matter, honestly. I mean, I watched Darling in the Bronx.
That did have like all the best sides of all the coins. So I will give you that one.
I think I watched that before I did My Love Story. That's probably what made me start shifting, honestly, is I started shifting over to pure shoujo, so pure ROMs.
I mean, there's just something about watching a guy control a lady in a giant mecha in pretty inappropriate positions that just gets the blood flowing,
They knew what they were doing.
1,000%.
They knew exactly what they were doing with that one.
Oh yeah.
Pink-haired girl, But yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, definitely, man. I haven't made the jump to shoujos, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. It probably won't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But I guess while we're at it, do you want to tell us some of your top anime, some of your faves?
Okay, yeah, sure. So obviously, the typical answer, One Piece, DBZ, Naruto, Bleach. But if I were to go like kind of off the normies, the beaten path. I'm a big fan of the Monogatari series, Aogaru, or My Teen Romantic Comedy. That's a great romance. I love it.
One of my top shows right there.
There you go. I knew Tyler would know. Big fan of Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
Okay.
Gintama. I know Dan's watching that right now. Steins Gate. And then this is more of, I like the manga better than this one, but History's Strongest Disciple. It's basically a martial arts show, and I cannot remember when I read this. I think I was in high school, and I absolutely love it.
Okay. I mean, that's definitely something I've never heard, so props to that.
Yeah, so the issue with this one, and it kind of frustrates me, it's kind of like an ecchi category as well. So when it was made, it was considered too risky for Americans, so it never got a proper translation to the manga. They made 50 episodes and they dubbed it, but they didn't do the whole story. It's over 500 chapters. I've read it like 3 times.
So an ecchi martial arts.
Yep.
Probably with women, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm down for that, honestly.
Yep, and the and it's not cringy too with the ecchi, because man, I can't remember the name of this author, but man, can he draw motion and fight scenes. It's incredible. So if
Okay.
you ever guys need a manga to check out, I would highly recommend reading that.
Okay. Well, speaking of like recommendations and stuff, if you would recommend like an anime to someone new to just starting to watch or wanting to watch anime, what would be your go-to choices for them?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say something long like One Piece, Naruto, or Bleach. I feel like that's very intimidating to someone. It's like, yes, just watch these 1,000 episodes and you're good. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's calm it down here. I would start off with the classics. You know, you got your Cowboy Bebop. You've got, the standard Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And then depending, I think you'd want to throw a couple genres because I typically ask people what they like. Like, I think Mob Psycho is a really good one to get into.
There you
If
go.
you like romance, Your Line April is very good. And then a lot of people like superheroes. So My Hero Academia fits that very well. And then you got, I'd say, Death Note and then Steins Gate would be my kind of starter list.
Nice. I don't think I would ever recommend My Hero Academia as somebody's first anime because if they're on Twitter, their feed is going to get really fucking weird because that fan base is a little
Oh, yeah.
out there with some of the
Hey.
shit they do.
Hey, I remember being 13 years old too, okay?
But speaking of like not recommending like One Piece and Naruto and stuff, we actually got a couple people in Discord. One of them being one of my friends, RL friends, and his first anime that he ever watched was One Piece, and he's about to be caught up. And like he
Wow.
watched Pokemon and shit when he was a kid, obviously, but One Piece was his first anime, so that's wild.
That's quite impressive.
And then we got another dude, Deadly, also, and his first anime was Naruto, and then his second anime was One Piece, bro.
Wow. So he watched like what, 18, almost 1,800 episodes? Actually, more
Yeah.
probably. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild. That's kind of their first couple of anime is One Piece and Naruto.
I could never recommend that to someone. It's just so long.
Yeah. And if someone came to me though and said like I like watching long shows, then I would say that. But yeah, for first like, hey, I'm trying to get an anime. What do you recommend? I wouldn't tell them to watch an 1,000 episode show.
Yeah, if they were like, I love Grey's Anatomy, I'd be like, oh, you're
Then,
ready. Buckle up, buddy. You're good.
I think when we was doing our recommendation show or whatever, I believe I said that I would recommend Naruto only if they had watched like Avatar: The Last Airbender or something like that and really enjoyed it and thought that they really wanted to watch anime. Then that's when I would recommend a long show like that because they already have an idea of what anime kind of is. Because Avatar is just as good as a lot of anime. So
It's the closest thing the Americans have, that's for sure.
yeah.
And they got together and they were like, we got one we can do. That's it.
But they stopped it. They should have stopped there and not try to do Korra. So
Yeah, they got
Korra was okay. Korra was okay. It just wasn't. It's tough to follow up the original and be good.
I would rather watch Avatar: The Last Airbender like 3 times before I would watch Korra halfway through.
Damn.
I mean, it's not bad, like you said. It's just not there. You know what I mean? Like Aang's my man. He's my boy. So
for us live action fans, that's Ong.
Oh my! Don't even get me started. No. They. I knew it was going to be bad when they were like, "That's the Avatar." I'm like, I'm done. I'm out.
That movie is the whole reason Bass won't watch live action anime. So
I don't blame him.
I told him to watch Dragon Ball Evolution. It might change his mind.
No, no. Please don't. Please do not do that.
Well, at least he watched One Piece live action and really enjoyed it. So that's good enough. So
yeah, that's a start. We got Yu Yu Hakusho live action coming soon too, so I'm pumped for that.
Yeah. I will be checking that out.
100%. That's an easy one to make live action. You just got to make laser fingers.
Yeah, you're solid.
Easy.
All right. So next, I guess for somebody who doesn't like that shoujo rom-com genre, if you were to recommend me a show, what would it be?
So I think Tyler has brought this up before. It is Wotako. Love is hard for otaku. So basically, Narumi is the main character. She's a woman who just entered the workforce. I think it's just a normal office job. And so these characters are like in their early to mid 20s, I believe. And she has a secret that she can't tell people. She loves writing BL novels. So if anybody doesn't know what BL is, it's boys love. So she's like a mangaka. And she finds out some of her other colleagues are closet nerds as well. So like I believe what is it? Hirotaka is into video games. Hanako is like this famous cosplayer, but no one knows. And then she's also dating Taro, who likes heroes and comic books. So they all kind of form this friend group because they're like, they're both couples. And they have work lives instead as well. So they try to hide it. And they make references to video games, other animes. Like they're trying to run somewhere. And Narumi yells, "Hold down the B button." I believe it's only 11 episodes and a couple OVAs, but I think you would really like this one. They're not teenagers. They're adults. A bunch of video game references, nerd references. It's animated by, I believe it's Aniplex owned, so I think it's A1 Pictures as well.
No,
that's the one I would recommend to you.
That sounds a lot better than what was the one you made me watch, Tyler? That I watched 2 episodes and said this is garbage.
It was
Toradora or whatever it is.
Toradora, bro.
Dude, Toradora's the GOAT, man.
Yeah.
It was so dumb. I'm like, this girl is so annoying and this guy's so boring. And then they're gonna end up falling in love, and it's who cares? Done. I don't want to watch it.
Dan and Bass literally almost had me in like palm top tiger
mode
form.
Yeah.
Well, listen to them.
Yeah, Dan's walking down the hall. He bumps into you and you just sock him in the face.
Pretty much.
So, since, I've mentioned mentioned this show to Dan several times. Do you have like a second one in mind for him too? Like if, just like to throw one out there, a second one?
If I were to throw out another one, because he doesn't like kids dating. That bothers him a lot.
I don't connect to it, if that makes sense. I'm old, married, and basically senile, so
yeah, kids bother him a lot. Got it.
I'd be too afraid because I feel like Rent a Girlfriend has so much of a bad reputation because those are technically college students.
I already need to watch it, so.
But I do have all right.
I do need to watch it. We've got a bet. He's going to watch Gurren Lagann, which is Pete.
Dude, Gurren Lagann is incredible.
Thank you.
But I made him agree to me that he watches Rent a Girlfriend and I watch Gurren Lagann.
All right.
So.
But I think I do have one. So you didn't like Toradora, but that author made another light novel, which became an anime called Golden Time.
Okay.
So this is actually set in college, and I think the main character's name is Bonri. And what happened was he kind of lost his memories. So he's kind of starting anew in college, and he meets this girl that his friend broke up with. And then they end up kind of getting together and start liking each other. And he's also struggling with his past as he's trying to stay in the present. And I don't want to give too much away. Tyler, I'm pretty sure you have watched this one as well.
I've watched a lot of it, yeah.
Yep, see? So, but yeah, it's also, I think they're pre-law students, so they're not kids. I think that would be another good one. I think it's on High Dive or Crunchyroll. I can't remember.
Ooh, High Dive.
It might be a dub on High Dive, and it might be a sub on Crunchyroll, so.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, I don't have a High Dive account. I steal somebody's High Dive account when we gotta watch High Dive shows. We were passing around that one. We were passing that account around like candy when we were watching Insomniacs after school. Yeah. It'd be like, are you done yet?
It's only two of us could watch it one time. So
Oh man, yeah, you gotta. Apparently, I gotta jump on that Eminence of the Shadow train. I keep hearing that's really good.
I mean, I think a new season's coming up soon, right? I'm pretty
Yep,
sure.
I think it started.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a couple. Like the only rom kinda that I've ever gotten him to actually somewhat like was Insomniacs After School, and I don't think he really enjoyed it in the first little bit of it, but I think as it went, I think it got better for him.
Yeah, I was pissed there wasn't ghosts. It made it sound like there was going to be ghosts. And I was like, oh, this is cool. They're going to fight ghosts or something. This will add a little pizzazz to it. But nope, we're just going to take pictures of the starry sky. But no, that's one I did like because it wasn't over the top. There wasn't like a really annoying tsundere character like punching people in the head. Like that was fine. And it wasn't like over the top, like, oh my God, we need to make them be together. Blah, blah, blah. It was like natural. It made sense.
Okay.
All right.
Kind of makes sense.
Well,
one day we're gonna get Dan watching some quality shows. He's gonna let his guard down and laugh a little bit. Creags.
Yeah,
I have been laughing nonstop. I've been watching Gintama, so you don't even know,
Oh my God.
dude.
Have you gotten to some of the Valentine's Day episodes?
I think one of them so far. They had like one way back. It's dude, I'm like 190 episodes
I
in.
know.
And the thing is like that is not a show with arcs. You cannot follow the entire story. You just remember the peak shit.
Yeah, you just describe what happens in the episode, and people are like, "Oh, I remember that one."
They've been tearing at my heartstrings lately. But well, I guess to round it out, so we've gotten into what got you into anime. So what are you currently watching?
All right, as always, One Piece. I have been a weekly watcher since 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when
I would say I love that for you, but I hate that for you, honestly.
this was when they were on. I still remember this to this day. It's like they were like episode 340 right before Thriller Bark, and I caught up.
Oh God.
Damn.
So how bad was Dressrosa Weekly? That's what I want to know.
That was rough. Because I read it, so I knew, like, I was so ahead, and the pacing was just so... That's my one criticism of One Piece. Making, one chapter, 2 episodes, it's very frustrating. It's like, come on, man.
Was it worse than Wano? Because that's what I want to know.
Dressrosa, I think, was worse than Wano.
Wow.
Because, I will say, because Wano gave you very intense animation and fight scenes...
That's true.
Whereas Dressrosa, Toei was kind of clutching their purse and not spending the money, which they have money. Come on.
Yeah. They had all that DBZ money. They're fine.
Yeah. They also did Sailor Moon and Digimon.
Yeah. The crazy thing is Dressrosa is one of my favorite One Piece arcs. And I think if I was having to watch it weekly, it probably wouldn't be one of my favorite One Piece arcs, honestly. So,
yeah, it's just, I don't know, just how you handle it, I guess. But
I sped through that shit real quick.
Yeah, they do.
All right, but besides that, I'm continuing to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, Rurouni Kenshin right now. That's some nostalgia with me right there. I loved watching that on Toonami. Tokyo Revengers, Shield Hero, Spy Family. I think Shangri-La Frontier, Undead Unluck, and then obviously I got to pick a trash one, The 100 Girlfriends That Really, Really Love Me.
Bro, I watched the first episode of that today, and I really enjoyed it.
It was pretty good. Dan, they made a Tokyo Ghoul reference.
Oh yeah, they did.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
They seem like they're gonna be like they talk in fourth dimension. They break the fourth dimension
Break the fourth wall
or whatever.
Just like in Tama.
In this. Yeah. Or so far in the first episode, they seem to be doing it, and they seem to be like referencing other things as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. He's only got 2 right now though, so he's got 98 more to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
if there is a scene where the main character is reading the manga that the anime is based off of, then we can say they're really breaking the fourth wall.
Just
There
like
was-
the
yeah.
Gintama character poll.
Oh God, I just watched that. I was crying.
I was laughing so hard because the numbers were above them and they're running through the town. I'm gonna be the number 1 character.
It was so stupid. But there's an episode where Shinpachi and Toshi are going at it to be the idol's like number 1 fan.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
Gintoki's just reading the manga and be like, that's the end. And they're like, that's not the end. There's 15 more minutes in this episode. He's like, goes to the next page. That's the end. He's just trying to cut it off. He's like, we don't want to do this story, guys.
Oh gosh, that show is so great. Oh my god.
Awesome. Should we get into our first, I guess, our actual topic?
Yeah, if y'all want to.
Let's do it. So final circle, 3 souls remaining. We're going to be doing a weekly rundown battle royale. There will not be one winner though. We're giving out a second place trophy here. We're looking to add 2 shows to the rundown this season. And we're talking about Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Undead Unluck, and Shangri-La Frontier. So these are 3 shows coming out this season that we've all watched. And we're just going to talk about it. We're not going to get too much into the plot, but Tyler, you want to get us going with Frieren?
Yeah, so probably a lot of people has heard of Frieren already, but if you haven't, it is a fantasy adventure drama kind of show. It's done by Studio Madhouse, and it's set in on Mal with around a 9 rating. It kind of pushed for metal for a while, but you know, if with anything like that, it doesn't stay that way for long. So, the first episode is 2 hours long. It's almost like a movie. It's going to be consecutive 2-hour as well. I don't know how many total episodes. The manga has been going on since 2020, and it's still going. It's 8.62 on Mal as well, so it's pretty good manga. But to give you a little summary before we get started, basically the Demon King has been defeated, and the victorious hero party returns home before disbanding. The 4, which is Mage Frieren, Hero Himmel, Priest Heiter, and Warrior Aizen. They reminisce about their decade-long journey as the moments to bid each other farewell arrives. But the passing of time is different for elves, and this brings Frieren to witness her companions slowly passing away one by one. Before his death, though, Heiter manages to give hoist a young human apprentice called Fern onto Frieren. Driven by the elf's passion for collecting inventory of magic spells, the pair embarks on a seemingly aimless journey, revisiting the places that the heroes of yore had visited. Along their travels, Frieren slowly confronts her regrets of missed opportunities to form deeper bonds with her now deceased comrades. That was a bit of a long one, but it's got a lot packed in there. So
that had a lot of Lord of the Ringsy like words in
it. I tried to translate as we went. That way we wasn't using like too big of words because it had some big ones in there. So.
A myriad of spells in inventory. I think myriad. This is the same amount of syllables. You could have said
it. But would they have understood with my fumbling of words? So
you did a good job, kid.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate when somebody says I do a good job. But yeah, just to get into this, I guess we'll start with like the OP and ED. Like, did y'all enjoy those?
Yeah, I thought they were really good. I thought they really fit the vibe of the show. Like, this not being a battle shonen, if it had like some epic song to start, would have been really weird. So I think they did a good job fitting the vibe of what we're going to be watching with that. And like when I first heard the opening, I was like, "Oh, this is a chill ass song."
Yeah. It's also done by Yaotsuba, so pretty banger. So
yeah, I have recency bias because I love that Oshinoko opener. It's
Yes.
so good. But yeah, it definitely fit the vibe. I didn't really understand the backlash it was getting online. They're like, this didn't fit. I was like, no, it seemed perfect. We're not battle, like, it's beyond the journey. We're exploring the story after they defeated the Demon King.
Yeah, I think a lot of them was saying like the OP was kind of a bit more upbeat, I guess. Right? Is that what the problem was? I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I didn't pay too much attention to it, but I just kind of saw it. I was like, huh, what?
Yeah, I mean they make banger music anyways. Like Creag said, Oshinoko intro is probably way up there in views and listens. Um, but me personally, I really like the ending a lot better. It just felt better, I guess, after watching the episodes. It just flowed better for me. But I mean, not saying the opening was good and it was bad. It was really good too, but the ending just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I've always really enjoyed songs that I think is Millet, however you pronounce it, because she did the Demon Slayer opening with Man with a Mission.
Did she?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
there you
Yeah,
go.
so she did the last Demon Slayer opening. Which song? She was the woman singing in that song with the guys with the wolf heads.
Okay. Makes sense. But yeah, other than that, like the overall music too was really good in this. I really enjoyed it all, honestly.
Yeah, the soundtrack mid episode was really good. It just they did a good job fitting the vibe of what we were watching. So I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now we'll kind of move on to like the animation, like the fight scenes and all that stuff. Um, I really thought the animation was beautiful. I thought they done a really good job with it. I think that they showed off like the sky and the surroundings throughout the show a lot, and I think it made it that much more impactful. Because this is supposed to be an adventure, like a journey type anime, and they made it seem like that by showing like all the surroundings instead of focusing on like I guess them. They focused on the broader picture. Kind of reminded me of like Studio Ghibli ish, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely had like a feeling of that. I don't think it was as like stunning as like a Ghibli background,
No.
but they did a good job of really focusing on that. And I thought the character animations were a little simple at times. Like not like bad, but just like they didn't really like go all out on that, and they really focused on the environment because the environment helped tell the story. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the fantasy world they built. And like Tyler said, he was getting Ghibli vibes. I was getting A1 picture vibes.
Okay.
I thought it was that good, but Madhouse does a very fantastic job with their animation. They've got a great catalog of some excellent anime they've done before. But yeah, it felt like I was watching like, a Lord of the Rings world. It was really
Okay.
neat.
And we didn't get much action in this per se, but we did get a little bit, and I thought that that fight that I'm talking about, it was pretty amazing, honestly. Even though it was pretty short, um, it had a lot of teamwork, I guess you can say, and they used it to like build the relationships and story as well with it. But the animation that came with it was really good, even though it was pretty short lived. So
Yeah, not a lot of fighting in these first four episodes. And I watched episode 5, and we're starting to get towards a little more action. But one thing I enjoyed with the fight animations is they were using the spell crest when they were using magic attacks. And it reminded me of like the really early days of Fairy Tale before they were like, we're just not going to animate this shit anymore. Fuck it.
Oh my god, I had the exact same thought, Dan. It reminded me of early Fairy Tale. Exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of that fight, we'll get like into like the magic system and world building, like the storytelling aspects of this show. Um, was there anything that you liked or disliked about how they handled all of those?
I thought it was really fun that they used like your classic RPG party system, essentially, where each person had their own role. And it wasn't just like 4 people with swords running around. Like you had a mage, you had a priest, you had a hero, and you had a warrior. So I thought it was fun that you had like 4 classes and how they interacted and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Corrupt priest.
Corrupt priest, yeah. My boy. My boy.
He's a real one.
But yeah, I loved how they like consistently tied things back that Frieren did back to her party. Kind of like all the spells that she's learning. One to remove rust or whatever from bronze statues. She used that for something for Himmel. And like the sour grape spell, she, Eisen apparently loves sour grapes, and it was really neat to see them like tying simple things like that back into the story, the relationships, the character building. I guess you can say even like the sunrise. She made an effort to go see the sunrise because not because of her, but because of her people. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like how she doesn't realize how much her first party and journey affected her. And when Fern asks her, why do you like collecting all these weird spells? She's just like, oh, I do. What she doesn't realize is because Himmel loves seeing her spells. So she subconsciously started collecting spells. And I just like watching her slowly, her heart is moving closer and closer. And she's opening up bit by bit.
Yeah, I was going to say that was probably my favorite part of this show. Is just seeing her like, because she was kind of deadpan at the beginning, like she didn't show any emotion. But as her party is, passing on, she starts to like show a little emotion, and it just goes to show how much this 10-year journey actually meant to her. Even though like 10 years for her is a drop in the bucket, that's like a week for us. But it goes to show how much those character interactions and the friends she made actually meant to her. Because at first she's like, yeah, whatever. I'll see you guys in 75 years. And like, oh, we're all going to be dead.
Jeez.
Yeah. Another thing, like, with the magic system, world building, and stuff like that. Talking about like the fight with the one fight that we did see. There was a lot of world building that came with that. We learned. I loved how they introduced like the history of the world with this fight, and and we learned a lot about like the magic abilities, like the how he helped like reinvent the like revolutionize magic in general, and that was like a really good like scene. I thought not only did we see like a really good fight scene and really good like character building with Fern and Frieren, but we also got like a really good backstory, history, world building, and intro to the power system all in one. So they like put it all together, and they done a really fantastic job with it, I thought.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the team of MIT scientists figuring out how that spell worked. I thought that was hilarious. This is so stupid. I was like, did you really need to include that? It's just a bunch of like scholars like studying it. I was laughing.
But it is crazy though that like 80 years ago he was big bad. They couldn't defeat him, and so they had to seal him away. But like 80 years now into the current present Frieren, like it's no sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how much he helped change the world, and not in his favor. So
Definitely. So do you guys have any thoughts on the pacing and how it went with, I mean, it was kind of weird because we got 4 episodes at once. So like the pacing feels really good, but I think I'd be interested to see if it continues feeling good as we progress. I mean, and it's not often that you get to just sit down and watch 4 episodes with basically like the week it drops.
I mean, I thought the pacing was great. Even I think that the way they do the time in this really makes up for like the kind of slowness of the show, because I guess it is supposed to be kind of slower paced, but it's not really slower paced because they do a lot of jumping around with time, and I think they do it pretty well, honestly. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. One of the things I liked is that like when the story jumped around, because it wasn't focusing on Frieren, it was focusing on her interactions with her party. Like if I had to watch some mage walk around and collect spells for like 2 episodes and all of a sudden she was back hanging with the boys, I'd be like, why do we do that? That's not what this show's about. So I did like the way they jumped around.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good pacing. To your point, we got 4 episodes at once, so I kind of feel a little spoiled, but they definitely help with the timeline and saying, X number of years after Himmel's death. It helps me kind of keep, pace of it because I think she was hanging out with that priest in Fern for what, like 4 to 5 years? And to her, that was like a couple days.
yeah,
So
it was definitely like I think it was like 4 to 7 or something like that. Was it
Jeez.
not?
Yeah, it was a good amount of time. It was what is it? What did Fern say? Half her life she's been with Frieren?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'd say probably about 7. I mean, she looks like she's like 15 or 16 now. So
Jeez. So that's crazy. But no, the narration, with that little in there. And then I love the callbacks to the previous journey and how she's kind of recreating it again. But my guess is she's going to make a new party. That's kind of how it's seemingly going.
yeah, and I watched episode 5, and that's definitely where it's going.
Yep. I did too. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know.
I do think that I'm glad that they released the first 4 episodes together, because I think that was the I guess the slowest. I'm not gonna say it was slow, but I think it would have been the slowest part of it, because it was like the intro, and I think they all needed to go together in order to make it make sense, I guess you can say. So I'm glad that they released all of them together, because I don't think it would have been as well received if they would have released them one at a time for that first 4 intro section. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. To me, it kind of felt like a prequel to the actual story. It was kind of like reading The Hobbit before you read Lord of the Rings. It was there to set the tone, set the vibe, set the story. And now we're actually going to get into Freeren's next journey.
Yeah. Was you glad that it released all at once too, Creags, or like would you rather it be like single releases?
I liked that it dropped 4 episodes at once. So I was under the impression that it was just going to be one long episode, kind of like Oshinoko. So I was prepared for that. So when I went to Crunchyroll and saw 4 episodes, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine too.
Yeah,
But
I literally just told my Google TV, I was like, hey, put on Frieren. And all of a sudden I saw credits roll, and I was about to text Tyler, like, what the fuck, dude? I thought this was like a 2-hour movie.
You did text me.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell, dude?
I was like, it is. But they broke it up into 4, so but yeah, I think it definitely confused hand every minute.
I just didn't go to Crunchyroll and click on it. I just like told my TV to play it, and I was like, oh, what the hell's going on?
Oh, he fancy, huh?
yeah. No, but I think it would have been really neat if they made a version of that where they just kind of made it in movie format and just let it flow. And we just sat there and watched it.
I think so too. I think that would have been better, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, 4 episodes at once, I think it would have been better as like all together, no credits or whatever. But I don't think it would have been as good if it would have started episode 1 and released weekly after that. I think it would have been lost on some people, honestly. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having it all at once made you sit through the 4 episodes. And like if I just watched the first one and had to wait a week, I don't know if I would have been as into it, honestly.
yeah, that's what I thought too. So good thing that they didn't release it single. But I guess we'll get into our next thing, and we'll talk about some of the characters. So did y'all have like any like favorites, or at least like characters that you didn't like, or anything like that?
I didn't really have a character that I didn't like. There wasn't really anybody who just really stuck out like, fuck this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But I'd have to say my favorite was definitely Heiter, especially as a younger man. You know, you gotta love a priest with a drinking problem. That's just gonna be my boy. That's the kind of guy I'd want to hang out at a bar with. And I feel like he brought a lot of like not comic relief, but he brought like a lighter side to the story, you know?
Yeah. And I knew you was gonna pick Hyder. I was like, no way Dan doesn't pick him.
Hey man, you know I love my anime characters who get after the booze.
Hell yeah. What about you, Creags?
I'm gonna go with my typical normie answer. The MC, Frieren.
There you go.
She's an elf, so there you go, right there. And
Waifu.
I'm just kind of interested in seeing her journey and the challenges ahead. Honestly,
Okay. I guess for me, I really like Frieren too. But I really like Hyter as well. I'm with Dan on this one. He just like was really funny, I thought. So it definitely brought out like good moments between Frieren and Hyder. You know, all the corrupt priest jokes was pretty funny. It definitely made me laugh a few times. And I think that Hyder kind of like secured Frieren's like future kinda as far as making her develop more, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely. I think he saw how much she actually grew as emotionally and like person wise on their journey, and he wanted that to continue for her. One thing I really enjoyed was that he was kind of talking shit behind Freeren's back by like him and Eisen were going back with letters, like they're like, "Oh yeah, she's taking a freaking apprentice, bro. Look at that. She said she wouldn't do that," and they were just going back and forth with letters. And like when she finally met Eisen, and she's like, "How'd you know that?" Oh, we were in the DMs. You don't even know.
and I really enjoyed Eisen too, even though he's a man of few words. Eisen was like for him being as old as he was, I'm not sure how like old he was. I know he's older in the dwarf years, but he still got it, you know, in the little that we've seen after, you know, in the end. So he still got it.
Yeah, I mean, dwarves don't live nearly as long as elves, but you know, they usually live like a quarter of like a millennia. You know, they live like 250 years. So like he's definitely up there in age. I love the fact he's like, I can't swing an axe like I used to. I'm not coming with you.
And you know, another one I'm not gonna miss out on is you know, Fern and Frieren, like their relationship makes them like very fun to watch. Especially like in the later episodes when we get into like mother Fern top shit. You know, trying to lead around the I don't even know. We don't even know how old Frieren is at this point, but she's like very old and she shouldn't uh be some nobody should be being a mother to her, but Fern, a like a 15, 16-year-old kid, is having to be mother to her. So that's wild and it's funny all in one. So
Yeah, I really enjoy the fact that Fern is just like, come on, Granny, we got to get moving here. If we do this for 30 years, I'm gonna be like an old lady by the time we get done with whatever you're trying to do here. So we got to get going.
yeah, my girl needs her sleep past noon, man.
And that's another thing when they flash back after Fern was like, "Did you do this?" And with the heroes too in the party, and she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Did they not say anything?" And she was like, "No, not really." And it flashes back, and you just see how pissed they was at her. But I guess going off of that, like, do y'all have any like favorite moments of the show, like that you really enjoyed, or any moments that you really didn't care for?
I don't think I had any that I really didn't care for. I think the one that really stood out to me, and I kind of mentioned it, was actually like with watching some of her old party members, pass away. Just actually seeing her cry and like show emotion. I thought that was a really good bit of character development we got, even in, well, it was 3 episodes, but it was freaking 75 years. So like, I thought it was cool to actually see that it actually had that much of an effect on her when she really played it off like it wouldn't. So I thought that was really good to see,
So for me, mine was an animation scene, and it was in the trailer. It was the scene where she's looking for the blue flowers after Fern's getting frustrated because she's like, yeah, we can look for a year or two for these flowers. And she's like, I'm not spending a year looking for flowers that don't exist. And then she flashbacks to where Himmel talked about these flowers. And then she floats up, and then she floats down to the field of them. The wind's blowing, her hair's going. That was very beautifully animated. That actually drew my attention in the trailer.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite scene too. Well,
Yep.
actually, start after that when they had all the flowers around Himmel's statue, but
Yep.
couldn't say it twice. I didn't want to steal it from you.
Nah, that's all right.
I think a couple of my favorite scenes. One of them was when she went into the sweet shop. Actually, that kind of like threw me off guard. I thought it was going to be something different than it actually was. I guess y'all know what I'm talking about. That was a fun scene. And then the second one that I really enjoyed, I laughed a lot, was when Fern and Frieren was kind of just walking down a path, and I guess Frieren starts to notice, that Fern is growing, into a lady, and she looks over and like they make a reference out of pebbles to show that the comparison, I guess you can say, of Fern and Frieren. I really laughed at that a lot.
We're comparing cannons, folks.
with rocks on the side of the road. I enjoyed that a lot. But as far as any scenes I didn't like, naturally I don't like any scenes that make me cry, and there was a couple that made me cry, including the Himmel funeral scene. That kind of made me tear up quite a bit. So I don't like that. So
You love those scenes, dude. Don't lie to the listeners. That's your favorite thing to do.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna need less of those though. I don't need to cry as much, bro.
I feel that. I think for me, the only thing that kind of annoyed me was like Frieren's lack of understanding of time in comparison to like the lifespan of a human. I'm like, you're like 1,000-year-olds, lady. You've seen like hundreds of people live their life out. Like, have a little compassion and a little respect for somebody who went from like, go see your boys. Don't wait 25 years to go see somebody. It's like, it might have only been, a drop in the bucket for you, but it was such a big part of these people's lives. And I was like, yeah, it's just kind of annoying to me,
I think though the time kind of gets away from her though. It's like when we're doing stuff that we really enjoy. Time flies, and I think it happens to her, but on a much different level. You know what I mean?
Go see the homies.
Yeah.
She did after 50 years.
Yeah, that'd be my criticism. She just like, yeah, we'll see this meteor in 50 years. Like, you couldn't go back a couple times throughout those 50 years to say hi, or
yeah, like you're not traveling up and down this continent over and over and over again. You're kind of just walking through the woods right now. Like, plan your trips accordingly. Go say what's goody.
I know, like even Ash Ketchum went home every now and then. It's cool.
And he's been 10 way longer than Frieren's been alive.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess to start closing this up, got a couple more questions. Like, do you think this lived up like to the internet hype that it got?
Kinda.
Think so? Okay.
Like, it was good. I don't think it's like the next best thing since like sliced white bread, but I think it's going to be a compelling story. I mean, I didn't see it really get hyped up like crazy, but my Twitter feed is a little more a little more. It's all Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers at this point. So
Jujutsu Kaisen in One Piece.
yeah, pretty much.
What about you, Creags?
So I should introduce you to my Twitter feed. 'Cause it was getting
Probably not the
hyped
same
up.
as me.
I know, right? It got hyped up, and I think so far it's lived up to it. Let's see if it can maintain it. But a lot of people are saying anime of the year right now.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's just so beautifully drawn. I like stories with world building and character development a lot. So I'm really excited to continue watching this.
And one more thing before we get into our like rating, like final thoughts, whatever. Anything like specifically that you would like to see going forward in Frieren?
Yeah, for me, I think she's so overpowered because she's lived for so long. I would actually like to see her get challenged.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to say what happens in episode 5. I want to spoil, but they run into a little issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
I think the same thing for me, you know, like I think it was was it 3 when they ran into the demon of all demons, the demon lord's like secondhand man, and they washed the dude. Like they hyped this guy up. He's like, he's going to be the strongest ever. And it's like, they took him down like 2 attacks. So I'm like,
yeah, he was too strong. They sealed him.
It'd be like if you sealed the final boss and then like in like the 4th game you come back and like you just wash him as like the intro boss, you know? It's kind of like, okay, let me see a challenge here. I want to see them not just shoot 2 spells. But that's the shonen boy in me coming out.
I gotcha. I mean, then it's kind of like a general consensus of the, Degens right now. Is I feel the same way. I feel like I want to see them. I feel like I want to see Frieren and Ferns and whatever else, whoever else is on the party or whatever. I want to see their relationship and their. I want to see them tested. I want to see that part of it, and I really hope that we get something like that going forward. So,
definitely.
But I guess, do you want me to start with the ratings and the final thoughts, all that good stuff, Dan, or do you want to go?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I think the story's been rock solid so far, and the plot is laid out to be a very interesting journey. I'm hoping some livelier characters join the party because the show needs some like comic relief. It needs somebody with a little more pizzazz than just Fern telling like Frieren to get on her ass and let's get moving. But overall, I think it's portraying some really good themes that I'm going to really enjoy. I mean, you have regret, mortality, and interpersonal relationships between people. So I think it's going to be a really good show to see how that develops further. And I guess it's already happened. I said this is definitely going to be a show that's going to have Tyler crying at some point. So called that. So far, I'm giving it 8 out of 10. I think this is the only show I actually gave a rating because there's more than 1 episode out. So
yeah, I feel that. I guess I'll go second. My thoughts on it, like combined with like the music and how the story feels, it actually feels like I'm like watching a Lord of the Ring-esque type show. And I'm a huge fan of that, obviously. This is, I think, about as close as you're going to get to like a Lord of the Rings type anime type of deal. This is pretty cool to have a show that looks this beautiful and just has such a high potential story without it being all about fighting. Now, I'd love to see fighting in the future, especially tough fights, but this show so far has made it seem like it's going to be okay without fighting, and that's a really good thing. And I think it throws in the humor in like such silly small ways, kind of like the mimics and stuff like that. It just has a way of throwing them in there and make you laugh. And top it off, like adventure is what made me fall in love with like One Piece, honestly. And this show is all about adventure. So if they can make a really great story with really great character development around an adventure type show, I'm all in for it. And so far, after 4 episodes, I would probably give it a really high 8 and maybe a low 9 right now. So, and I would expect that to probably go up and stay in the 9s, honestly, as it goes.
Okay. On to me. So let's see. I think what's Mal at? It's probably artificially high, 9.05. All right, I wouldn't go that high for it, but this is definitely a story focused on character development, world building, and, not only journeying on the world, but also the journey within. The first 4 episodes were very, very good introduction into the series and what we're going to kind of experience going forward. I look forward to this one out of the most of any of the animes I watched so far for the fall. So I would give this probably an 8.3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it can maintain that too.
That's pretty solid too. So, especially after 4 episodes, this is, obviously our loose ratings. And just throw it out there and put it on paper, I guess you can say. So, but yeah, I guess that's it for Frieren. I guess. Do you want to get us into Undead Unluck, Dan?
Yeah, I'll get that going. So, Undead Unluck. This is a comedy battle shonen done by Studio David Productions. They're most known for JoJo. They're also picking up Fire Force in season 3, and they helped on the first 2 seasons. So its first episode just dropped. The manga has a 7.39 on Mal. So basically, for a quick summary, after reading the conclusion of her favorite manga series, Fuko Izumo finally feels ready to end her existence. For the first 10 years, Fuko has been afflicted by a condition that brings extreme misfortune to anyone who touches her. This has had a drastic effect on her surroundings, even inadvertently resulting in the deaths of those around her, including her parents. As she stands on a bridge above train tracks, Fuko is touched by a strange man, causing the footing underneath him to break and dropping him in front of an ongoing train. However, when Fuko finds the man's corpse, she discovers that his body is regenerating and that he is now coming back to life. The man, who Fuko names Andy, is immortal, and like her, he also wishes for death. Initially dismissive, Fuko eventually decides to team up with Andy to give him the best death possible. But a mysterious organization lurks in the shadows, hoping to take advantage of the duo's bizarre abilities.
That's a whopper, a lot going on there too. So
yeah, the plot of this show is fucking bonkers, dude. Like, I read this and I watched the trailer and I was like, I need to watch this.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna check this out until Dan texted me, but my goodness, it was so out of pocket. I was laughing the whole time. I'm like, yo, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It's definitely a fun one.
And that's what I was saying we needed on the rundown, was an out-of-pocket, crazy, ridiculous show, because we need something to spice things up, That's why I wanted to put this on the rundown. So what'd you guys think of the opening? We didn't get an ending. It just kind of rolled black credits with some names. So what'd you guys think of the opening?
Yeah, well, they actually showed the opening at the end.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, I actually thought they didn't show an opening, but I went and researched a little bit, and the opening was the ending this time. And apparently the ending isn't released yet or something like that, even though it's already announced. We just don't know what it sounds like. But for me, the opening is really good. It's done by Queen Bee, which, done Dororo. I don't know if Creags.
I've heard of that one before.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed it. So I don't have no complaints about it. It's probably one of my favorites of the season, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to recall it. I think I've watched too many animes right now. I just don't remember what it sounded like.
It was fun. It was very fun. So definitely check it out. So this is probably the only major anime, I feel like. I don't even know if this is technically major, but it has a mature rating. So, like, how do you guys feel about that? There's not a lot of anime out there with like really graphic things that require mature ratings. How'd you guys feel about that?
After watching like the first episode, I understand why they have it. Um, but even though they like had a mature rating, one thing bugged me about it. Why do you have a mature rating if you're gonna censor the word sex
Yep.
in the voice line and the subs? Like that bugged me a lot. Not gonna lie, it's rated mature for a reason. I feel like the word sex shouldn't be censored, but
That just might be something with like Japanese TV rules. I'm not sure. So,
I was just gonna say Japanese broadcasting, depending on when it's shown, probably had to do that.
yeah.
maybe.
But I definitely think this needed a mature rating. I mean, like, to properly portray what this manga is bringing to the table, like, Andy's naked 90% of the episode. They have just his nuts, his junk is censored, and he's just stark ass naked. And like, there was so much blood and gore. I mean, the dude is shooting blood bazookas out of his fucking legs the entire time to fly
Oh,
around like
God.
Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, that propulsion system was awesome.
It was so fun.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, dude, I just remember seeing the trailer and I was like, yes, this is what I want to watch. Oh, what'd you guys think about the animation?
I thought it was solid. Dude's constantly getting like annihilated, and they're making it look good. And when he like regens as well, it looks really good too. I feel like if it wasn't animated very well, that those things would kind of stand out and make the show not as good. But it doesn't. It actually looks really good. Everything that they're doing right now. So.
Yeah, the first scene where he regenerated, I was just getting major Attack on Titan vibes. Watching the spine pop out and like all the muscles form, I was like, "Holy shit,
Same.
they're doing in on this one."
Same,
Yeah,
bro.
They do a great job with the explosions they were showing. David Production, famous for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I'm waiting for one of those references to come out. Some crazy colors, some crazy poses. Let's see it. But yeah, I thought it was very well animated. I never thought I would see a blood propulsion system, but here I am talking about it.
Oh, definitely, man.
There is one thing, I'm not going to talk about that very much, but there's one minor dislike for the animation that I had, and that was at the beginning. The snow scenes, actually, that we learned was, the manga, they were showing the manga or whatever. But the snow scenes, like the character movements during those scenes was really jittery. Did y'all notice that?
Yeah, and I think they did that on purpose because they were trying to make it seem like you were flipping through manga pages, is kind of the vibe I got. Because like
Okay.
when I first watched this, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I had no
That-
Yeah.
idea
That
it
was
gonna
me.
be the manga. I was like, "What is going on?" I thought this was about like blood bazooka legs. Like, what is going
Okay.
on here? And then like I saw her close the book, the manga, and I was like, "Oh, that's what we just watched." That was very romantic. Good for you, Fuko.
See,
Yeah.
the bad thing about that is that I didn't make it that far, and I literally like watched the beginning 2 to 3 minutes like at least 3 times, trying to figure out what the hell was going on because it was so confusing to me. And then I finally made it. I was like, "Screw it, bro, screw it," and I just kept watching on the fourth time, and I was like, "Oh, is that the manga?"
I love how you watch something that has absolutely zero bearing on the plot of the show 3 times.
Well, I didn't know at that point. It's the first like 2 to 3 minutes of the show. I thought it was important. I was like, "What the hell, bro? What's going on, really?"
Yeah, I
But
was confused. I was like, did I click the right show? I was like, I don't recognize any of these characters. I don't think this is a romance.
and I was really concerned because like I said, it was so jittery, like the animation. I was like, I really, really hope that it isn't like this the whole time, and it wasn't. So thank God.
Oh, if it was, we would not be watching it in the rundown. Don't even worry.
It would be like an instant Trigun scenario for us. But yeah, that was my only like minor dislikes was those two things I mentioned. It was all about the first like 2 to 3 minutes of the story. It was confusing. It looked like shit, and all that good stuff. But it makes sense now that I watched an extra minute past that point. So
I can't believe you watched that 3 times.
I did. I'm not even lying.
Did you guys like the fighting animation that we got towards the end?
Yeah. I like I said, I really thought they done it really well. It seems like we're gonna get a lot of uh regeneration and dying in certain ways scenes quite a bit. I think that's gonna be like the main thing of the show probably. And they've done it really well. So
Yeah, I mean, when he was fighting those guys from whatever mysterious organization we're going to get introduced to, I thought it was really clean. Like when he like sliced them all up, I was like, "Oh, damn, this is kind of buttery."
Yeah, his fighting style was quite unusual. Did he pull a knife out of his forehead? Was that what that was?
Yeah, so he went into it. Basically, he's been alive for so long that he like doesn't want to process all the information that's in his head. So he just stabs himself in the dome to make him not remember half the shit he knows.
Oh my gosh.
So when
But
he
yeah,
pulls it out, he pulls back all his fighting knowledge.
yeah, he's like the martial arts, he's getting limbs cut off, but he's using it to his advantage. It's quite creative. I thought it was really, really well done.
And I loved like the transformation you saw in him when he pulled that blade out of his head. And he almost like it looked like he almost went like DBZ art style. Like his hair was all spiked up and shit. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
it did spike up.
yeah, it's actually wild that he actually caps his memories. Like that's an actual plot point for this, and that's actually insane. So
definitely. Did you guys enjoy the comedy of it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was very funny. From the first meeting when they first met, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, well, I'm just going to watch you. It's cool. And then he accidentally touches her, and she thinks she killed another person, and his head pops back up and rolls up. I knew we were in it, man. And then he pops a field. She punches him in the crotch. Again, I was cracking up the entire time.
this is definitely so like Krieg said, out of pocket and over the top. This shit is insane. And I would laugh like I don't think I've laughed this much in like a couple seasons, honestly. So
Yeah, this show had me cracking up. Like just how ridiculously stupid some of it is. It's like, what is going on right now? I mean, like the fact that they had a fucking meteor dropped on their heads was so out of pocket. I was like, oh my god.
yeah. Shit's wild, bro. I mean, not many anime, I don't think you can say that you see people flying around due to like blood exploding from your extremities. So, and this is one of them. I'm not sure if there's a second one or not, but this is one of them, and it does it well. So
I've watched a lot of anime in my day, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
No, it's very, very unusual.
So obviously, with it only being one episode, we didn't get a lot into like the power system and world building and storytelling and stuff. But with the first episode, do you think it laid a good groundwork for what's going to come?
So one thing that I found really interesting is the manga. The manga that Fuko is actually reading. She showed the cover of it and it kind of looked familiar. And I don't know if you noticed this, Kriegs, or not. Did you think it looked familiar? Did you pay attention or no?
I think I was still confused.
Okay.
At that point, because she closed it, and I'm like, wait, what? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, this was I didn't notice it at that point, but after they fell off the roof or whatever, and he caught the manga and handed it to her at the bottom, it showed like the front of the cover, like a very good picture of the front of the cover. And it actually was like um I'm having a hard time describing it, but anyways, it's actually a parody to Kimi no Todoki.
Oh, no way. Is it
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta watch
It's
that scene now. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually the front cover is actually like like the cover of Kimi no Todoki, and I researched this, and this manga is actually a parody of that, and they go into it deeper actually in the later I guess episodes or way down the line or whatever, and they talk about it more. But it is, and I really enjoy that they're bringing something like that into it. And they showed that in the first episode. I was like, wait, that looks familiar. What manga is she reading? And like I said, I researched it, and Kimi no Todoki, bro.
Oh yeah, me and Tyler would talk about this because it got approved for season 3.
Yeah. Another one of our little shoujo anime that we love so much. So
Nice.
I figured Creags would be like pretty psyched about that scene if he caught it. So
I did not catch it, but yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again. I'm excited they're gonna talk about it.
yeah. So but yeah, anything y'all like really like about all the like world building and stuff?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job introducing the two main characters and what their abilities are, and we'll get into those in a second. But I also like how they introduced the villains without going like too much into it. So it's still very mysterious. Like you want to watch the next episode because you want to know what's going on and why they're after these two, you know?
I just want to know how soon they're gonna have sex.
Oh my god. Here's the worst part. My first thought was that after she kissed him, and I was like, oh, if they do it, what happens then? And then he says it. I was like, come on, man.
we need to know, bro, for science.
Dude, it's gonna unleash like a meteor that destroys the whole world.
He's gonna grab another manga. He's like, here, let's recreate this scene from Tokyo Ghoul.
Where's Saitama at when you need him, bro?
It's just gonna be him punching the earth. So what did you guys think of the unluck ability that Fuko has?
Obviously, it's really unique. I don't know if we've seen another ability quite like this before. And I really enjoyed that the show doesn't just say, here it is, this is what it is, and this is all there is to it. It seems to be pretty deep. And we're actually learning about it as we go through like Andy's little experiments, I guess you can call them. Because it's not just a simple ability, simple concept. It's something pretty complicated, I guess. And most shows do something like this half-assed, and I think they're doing this like pretty decent, and they're not just doing it just for comedic purposes, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything funny about her ability. I mean, when they went into her backstory, that was tragic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so bad for this girl. I really can't like blame her for wanting to like end her life to stop doing this to people. Like if I did things like this, I'd be like, lock me in the loony bin, man. I don't want to touch anybody.
Yeah.
True.
She's afraid to get close to anyone. And I get it. And that would definitely mess with your psyche and your head.
And that's why I think we're going to get such a good relationship between her and Andy, because Andy can't die. And there was like, 3 or 4 or 5 situations in the first episode where Andy just died and came right back. And he's like, yeah, you don't got to worry about it, And I thought that was really cool that like she finally found somebody she can like touch and be friends with and like actually like not just like sit there with gloves on,
And one that she can actually, kiss and all that stuff. I know how much like shoujos in general love to do like the indirect kiss. That's like usually a step in the process, but we can skip that here. So But yeah, what about Andy and his undead ability? What y'all think about that?
I think his ability is just so funny because like Fuko the entire time is just freaking out. And Andy doesn't give a shit at all. He's like, oh, yep, whatever. I'm coming back. Don't worry about it. Let's see if you can kill me. Let's do it again. And I think it's so funny. And like the fact that he can do such ridiculous things due to his power. I mean, just jetpack blood legs is the greatest anime power I've seen in a long time. So I'm excited to see what else he can do with this ability.
Well, we see that he can actually like shape his bones too, which is really interesting.
Yeah, he went like almost Wolverine like with his freaking bone sword. That was nuts.
Yeah. So, but me personally, like I love that he kind of gets upset when he gets called a zombie. He's like, "Don't compare me to those, I don't even know what he said, brainless beings or something like that." Basically, he's got like the IRL chop fruit, bro. That's basically what I could describe it as. So, definitely interesting, really interesting. I'd love to know more about him and his past, though. We see him talking about like his 100+ years of memory. And I would like to see more about that, honestly, and see what all he's got in his wheelhouse, I guess. And it makes me wonder how OP is Andy really gonna be with that, like the memory plot point? Is that gonna be like a ass pool generator?
If it is, at least it has bearing.
Yeah. What about you, Creags? What do you think about Andy?
Yeah, I love his character. I think he's hilarious. Definitely the comedic relief. I know we only did episode 1, and they want you to keep watching, but I'm definitely interested in why he has this ability and also his past, like what brought him to where he is now. Also with Fuko too, I want to know why did she get that unluck ability? Just kind of, it'll keep me watching week after week. So I'm excited.
Definitely. How'd you guys feel about the pacing? I mean, it's only one episode, but like I thought it was really good. Like the story didn't seem slow at parts. It was just kind of all over the place the entire time. So I really enjoyed that. But can't really make like without knowing the source material, I don't really have any way to understand how far this is actually like how good the pacing is without watching a few more episodes, I feel like.
Well, I mean, based off, the first episode alone, it's really fast paced, and I really like that. But it's not so fast paced that you kind of get lost in what's going on. It's just fast paced in the fact that there is a lot going on, but it's so simple things. You know what I mean? So it's not really that bad. So I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, to me, it was the typical, shonen first episode, fateful encounter. A character meets another character that changes their fate. They introduce them. Minor villain, and then, the story continues. I thought it was a pretty standard pacing. It didn't bother me at all, but yeah, I haven't read the source material, so I'm not sure where this story goes after this episode.
I don't want to read it because I want to watch it animated.
I know. I kind of don't want to ruin it for me either.
So, with that being said, the next question would obviously be like favorite, least favorite characters, but there's only a couple characters so far introduced in the first episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, are we team Andy or team Fuko?
Oh, we're team Andy.
We're all team Andy, I feel like.
Come on. That's not even close.
Well, I'm going to be
Fuko's a baddie, though.
Yes,
I'm going to be the odd one out then. I'm going to go team Fuko just because she needs somebody on her side. So.
Yeah, didn't he comment like, "Oh, you got a nice bust size" when he groped her? I was like, "Oh my god!"
I can't blame him.
And then he took the beanie off, and I was like, "Whoa, she got some very long hair."
But it makes sense. They tied it. They made it make sense.
She couldn't get a haircut.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have been chopping my own hair off, dude. I can never have hair that long. I feel like.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you're also a man, not a woman.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They got some different shit going on over there.
If you're gonna wear it up in a beanie anyways, it don't need to look pretty.
True. But yeah, I guess to get into, like, is there any scenes that really stood out for y'all, or like moments that you didn't really like?
I think the one that we're all gonna agree on was the intro, just because it made no sense at the time, and that
Yep.
really threw me off. So, and it
Yeah.
clearly threw Tyler off. He watched it 3 times.
Yeah, it was crazy to me. And looking back and knowing that it's like Kimini Todoki, like it kind of makes more sense now. But one thing that I really enjoyed a lot was like that Andy is kind of like our man Kensho from Psalm 100, and he's always naked. And I enjoyed the little thing that they got going on. They had like the little squirrely lines for Kensho, so it's a fun time.
Yeah, but the difference here is that Andy's naked for a reason, and Kensho's just weird.
I feel like if he can regenerate his whole body, he could probably regenerate his clothes too.
Nah, that's not how that works, dude.
And I love how that the little glass panel or whatever you want to call it that covers up his private sections can and does get interacted with in the show by Fuko. So I love that
scene had me crying. I was laughing so hard.
She screams and runs.
But yeah, any scenes that stood out for you, Creags?
I would just say Andy alone was a spectacle. I can't. I don't know what else more you say. We've brought up the blood propulsion.
I might go watch this again tonight.
I know, honestly. I have to watch that intro again. I got to see the Kimi no Todoke cover.
Yeah. So like I said, the cover comes after he
grabs
she
the manga.
falls from the building or whatever, and he grabs her and uses his bone to like slide down this side of the building. You know what I mean?
I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's when they hit the ground and he gives her the manga back and starts talking to her, and it shows the manga cover for like a couple seconds, and all you see is like the blue cover going down the middle where Kimi no Todoki would be. So I guess you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yep. On the spine. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it shows it on the front cover, so.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna have to look up a manga cover for this manga just before I rewatch it, just to see if I can catch what you're catching.
So it should be the 2 main characters. I believe that's the cover.
Okay. Well, the cover is I don't think they actually like do the cover. They do the lettering.
Okay.
So like the Kimi no Todoki lettering. It's got like it's very hard to explain.
Are they doing the katakana of it?
I don't think you can really see it. It just shows like the blue, like the circles on top of each other down the middle of the front manga cover, and that's kind of like Kimi no Todoki does. So.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the bubble lettering around the title? Yep.
Yeah. So it's got like the little bubbles, the bubble top things going straight down the middle of the manga cover. And I was like, wait, I've seen that somewhere. And like I said, I got the research and it was actually, Kimi no Todoki, from me to you. And I think this is actually, I think it's like from you to me or something like that is the actual name of it in the in Undead Unluck or something like that.
Yep,
so
they translated it. Well, look at Tyler doing his research here.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, so I guess to close out Undead Unluck, I think this dynamic between Fuko and Andy is just gonna keep getting funnier and more ridiculous, like as the show goes on. I mean, at the end of the episode, Andy walks out of this building that was just decimated by a meteor, and he's like, huh, I've never had a meteor dropped on me before. That was pretty crazy. I was just laughing the entire time. I mean, I think this dynamic alone is going to make me watch it weekly.
Yeah. For me, I really enjoyed it as well. I was wondering how it was gonna go, because I had no knowledge of this coming into it. But it was kind of pretty hopped up. But the fact that it's super funny and over the top shenanigans, I think it's gonna be a really fun watch for us. And even better if it has like added romance into it, which I think it's gonna get. I don't know how serious of a romance it will be, but any romance is better than none, in my opinion. Uh, I think that I would probably I would definitely love to see like more world building, and but I also know it's only been one episode, but I want to know what's going on with this world. I want to know why there's nobody around, because we don't see nobody else. We just see undead dude and another chick with crazy powers, and like I want to know why that is. So but I think I'd give it like a high 7 right now, honestly, and I think this show has a lot of potential for me. So
Yeah, definitely. I think it's too early for a rating for me with only watching one episode, but I think this is going to be a really well received show and something fun to discuss with, like in the Discord, hanging out with everybody in there. There's definitely potential for a solid 7 to 8 rating based on the premise alone, as long as the story doesn't go sideways, you know?
Yeah, I'm interested in knowing the backstories of Fuko and Andy, why they have these powers. Interested to see them grow together because I think, that's probably what's going to happen here. And I'm glad, Tyler, you brought up the world because I noticed there was no one else around in that big city. So I'm curious, is this like a post-apocalyptic world or what's going on here? And what's that organization that wanted her abilities so badly? But yeah, definitely, I would say, yeah, probably I would give this a 7-ish. That's my feeling from episode 1. We just don't know enough yet.
yeah, and going off that, like I know that the train was being driven by someone, so obviously there's more people in it than just them, but uh there we didn't really see anybody besides the group of bad guys or whatever. So I guess there is people, but you think that we would have seen more people, especially with like whole meteors falling down on buildings and shit. So
Well, there was the scene where Andy was flying around the city with Fuko, and there were people, like there were bystanders there. I just think they really wanted to focus in on the main cast and not like have that be a portion of what you saw. I think that's kind of the vibe they were going for.
I gotcha.
That is true. I mean, if there was a naked man going all around the city, I'm pretty sure the cops would be there immediately.
Yeah, there were 2 cops, so there were people.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
And
Jeez,
maybe I just didn't pay that much attention.
I know.
But I swear, like I didn't really see many people. So
It's hard to pay attention to the background with what's going on in your face. Honestly, that's what I look at it as.
Yeah. We might have to join Dan and rewatch this episode.
Awesome. Well, Tyler, do you want me to get into Shangri-La or do you want to do it?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I can get it going. So, Shangri-La Frontier, this is your classic video game action adventure anime. It's done by Studio C2C, which also did Reincarnated as a Sword. On Mal right now, it has a 7.88, and the manga has a 7.79. So, just a quick summary. The show is about a gamer who hunts down and plays trash games for fun and finally decides to actually play a good game, a god tier game. One that has lots of fans, no bugs, and great game mechanics. On his journey into the beautiful world known as Shangri-La Frontiers. So to start, the intro for this show is fucking gas. This was like some of the most heat. Like I wanted to run through a brick wall after listening to this.
And going off that, this opening, it reminded me a lot of like an Attack on Titan opening. They really start off like similar, honestly. It's got the heavy metal that went into like a faster pace flow, and then it went into like more of a relaxed pace, and it all flowed together really well. And like Dan said, it just makes you want to like freaking like jump up and just like, I don't know, this is gamer shit right here. So
Yeah, that got me as hype as when I watched One Punch Man. You just inhale and yell one punch. That was that level. I was like, yo, this is it right here. This opening's fire.
Oh, definitely, guys. So the episode starts off with Sunaraku basically beating this trash game, and he defeats the Dark Lord, and he proceeds to drop kick the NPC who's joined him on his journey, Faria. What'd you guys think of that?
I was laughing so hard. At first, it was unexpected. I was like, "Wait, what? Why?" And like they went really hard on the animation of this scene too.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Like I absolutely loved it. And like once he explained it, how she was causing every issue he had to fix, I was like, I would drop kick you too. Like, who hasn't wanted to drop kick an NPC on your team, like on your team in a video game? It's just part of gaming.
So I had no context to the show. Didn't know what it was about. I saw that elf foot kick all online. I'm like, what is going on with this show? Like, first initial thought, I felt bad. I was like, man, drop kicking an elf girl? What's going on here? And then I figured out why he drop kicked her. And I was 100% on this dude's side. I was like, I get it. I 100% get it.
Definitely, dude. So how'd you guys feel about the animation?
I think it looked pretty good, honestly. I don't really know if they use CGI. It didn't really look like they used CGI for the most part. I didn't really notice if they did. But I really enjoyed when they like took advantage of the like slow-mo in the fighting scenes. I really enjoyed that. Slowed it down, give us like a little extra few seconds to process what was actually going on, and it looked really good doing it. So
Yeah, definitely. The only criticism I have of the fighting is like if I go through like 7 episodes of this and he's still just like crit spamming with the word critical, critical, critical coming up, I feel like it takes away from the story a little bit. Like I understand it's a video game and I understand that's what you do, but like it's just gonna get old after a while, I feel like.
yeah, I get that.
But overall, I thought the overworld was stunning. Like this was a beautiful looking show.
Yeah, they definitely very clean animation with fighting in the end game. I thought, especially that snake, that didn't look like CGI. That looked like they hand drew that, and it was really well done. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see more of it. It's a video game world. It's pretty, it's pretty relatable. I love video games, so I like watching this stuff.
Yeah.
And they did the level ups just similar to like what else is that, like Shield Hero, how he pops the screen up like that. I was like, all right, I'll take that.
I got you. So I guess getting into like the other aspects of the show, like the power system, the world building, storytelling, all that stuff. Is there any like likes, anything that stands out, any things that you really didn't enjoy about this show when it comes to those things?
Yeah, I feel like the power system is just your stereotypical video game power system. It's very clear what it is. We all know what it is if you've played an RPG in your life. I think the world building, we haven't really gotten too much into it yet. Like we just know he's out here grinding and leveling up before he goes to the first town. So actually, sorry, skips the first town. Fuck that shit. So like I'd be interested to see where it goes. The pacing feels really good, and one thing I really liked is that they left out him grinding, because like to get those 2 Vorpal blades or whatever they called them, he had to kill a bunch of rabbits, and like mining all that ore to get his 2 custom swords. I don't remember if that was episode 1 or 2, but like they didn't show it, which I really appreciate it, because like grindiness in a video game, it's fun, but like I don't want to watch somebody else do it.
But I love the fact that they actually talked about how long it took him to get those things, and they actually like talked about like drop rates and shit like that, nerdy shit. I really enjoyed that they did that. Instead of, like Dan said, we didn't see the grind, but we heard about the grind. So.
Yep, they were definitely talking to the Final Fantasy fan in me. I was like, "Yep, I understand that. You got to kill 100 monsters to get one item."
Oh yeah, dude.
But yeah, I thought the pacing was pretty good for the first episode, and where we went from the in-game world to the real world to the in-game world, and it didn't really annoy me because I thought they did the transition very well. His IRL life and then his video game life.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like 24 minutes to me, honestly. When the credits started rolling, I was like, "Oh, okay, it's over already." Because it was really good paced, and it had a lot of information flowing at us really smoothly, and everything just looked really good. Like several times, we got to see like the over the top view of like the whole world, or like the world that he could see, and it looked astounding. So.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys? I think we're all going to agree on our least favorite character here, and that's Feria, who got drop kicked. But did you guys have a favorite character?
I actually liked her.
You like Feria?
Yes.
He has like the worst taste of characters, dude. He's like, I love this bitch.
She was so funny, bro. She made it so funny. I forget the little sound they kept on making, like the or something like that.
Her tee, and she turns her head.
Yeah.
Did you watch the I can't remember, after the credits there was like a theater scene. It reminded me of Black Clover, and they just kept showing all the things she would do and mess up, and I'm like, oh my god, no wonder he drop kicked her.
I loved it.
It was so funny.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I enjoyed Sanroku, but I liked Feria as well. So
yeah, I think my favorite character so far is definitely Bird Kirito. I think he's going to be a good character. But I'm really excited to see the dynamic between him and his IRL friend, or the girl who's really interested in him, because like she's like some high level member of like some super badass guild, and like shows up to the first village and just like top tier armor ready to like meet him, and he's not even there. So I think it's gonna be really funny with her chasing him around this video game world, just like she kind of is in real life.
Man, I called that. I knew she'd be like some high level monster or whatever, and someone commented like, I'm gonna laugh if season 1 is just her trying to find him in the game, and he's just going off this path and she can't figure out where he is. And I'm like, that'd actually be pretty funny.
Oh, definitely. Did you guys have any favorite moments in the show?
I mean, obviously, one of the favorite, I think I'm speaking for all of us probably, but the beginning, moment with Feria was really, really fun and interesting, and really brought the vibes to the show, I guess you can say. So
it definitely was a good hook. Like, it made you want to keep watching. That's for sure.
Yeah, that screenshot made me want to watch it, because I'm like, what is going on?
And like he had like a luchador mask on and gym shorts. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Other than that, like I really, really enjoyed the goblin scene, like his first encounter with a monster in this new world, and they just went way too hard on like the music and the whole animation and stuff for this like bullshit low level goblin. His first encounter, they just went too hard on this, and it really made it stand out for me, and I really enjoyed watching it.
Hey man, that's what it's like playing a god tier game, like it's crispy. I mean, there are moments he's like, wow, I can't believe I can actually control my movements this well. Like, I'm used to moving like sideways and not having any control from playing these trash video games.
Yeah, moving backwards and not being able to see where I'm going. But yeah, what about you, Creags? Anything stood out to you?
So yes, if I put my Tyler cap on, I noticed something specific. So
Oh
when
yeah.
Ray was talking to Mana, the store owner, they showed a shelf with video games, and if you paused it, you could see they were Switch games. So you could see Pokemon Sword and Shield, Breath of the Wild. I think they had Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart. So I just loved like watching and seeing all of these games. I don't know why. I just love seeing it as a video game person. I was like, oh, this is cool.
So I noticed it, but I didn't pause it. Were they actually the names of the titles, or were they like
So
knockoff kind of things?
so I couldn't see the names, but you could see the art. It matched it perfectly. And they had the little Switch logo in the corner, like barely visible where they don't, get in trouble.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. And I was like, it makes sense. They're at a GameStop pretty much.
Yeah. That was my favorite scene. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing overall was just the character creation scene. Like, I thought it was so funny. He's like, I'm just going to sell everything I have and walk around in shorts, but I don't want to show my face. So I'm going to buy a bird mask, have a couple daggers, and go into this game with a bunch of cheddar. I was like, this guy's he kind of knows what he's doing. But like being a gamer, I'm like, who in their right mind would drop all their armor? Like, I was crying. I was like, this guy's a psychopath.
I mean, like he said, he doesn't need it, bro. Like he's played so many trash games, he don't need it.
Yeah. He's that player in Breath of the Wild that goes and fights Ganon, no armor, just all the weapons he picks up in the castle and just goes for it.
Pretty much.
That's him, man.
Did you guys like the concept so far? Like the trash game hunter goes and plays a good game. I thought it was pretty funny. Like after understanding, like, I don't have time to play trash games, but if I guess I was back in high school and I didn't have a job or anything, like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. I thought it was like really unique as well. I think every show that we've done tonight is unique in their own ways, which I guess why we're trying to talk about them. But it's a very unique video game anime. We don't really normally see the trash games, but it kind of makes him OP in a way because, like I mentioned earlier, if he can like succeed at beating some of these trash games, especially legendary trash games, imagine what this man can do in like a god tier game like he's playing right now. Like we're seeing it. So
yeah, speaking of god tier video games, we desperately need one in the real world because I feel like nothing good has come out lately. Besides Zelda, of course. That's probably the only like every other game I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. And then I play it for like 3 hours. I'm like, okay, I'm not hooked. I need something that bites,
Dude, I've sunk like 135 hours in that game. It's so good.
But speaking of games, do you guys have any history playing trash video games? Because that is our main character's bag right there. So have you guys played any trash games?
I mean, recently, like some of the recent ones that I played for like maybe an hour would go straight to Cyberpunk. No, is it Cyberpunk?
Yeah, that game was really bad at
yeah.
drop. But then I guess they put a bunch of patches in. It's really good now.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to replay it, but like I said, I played like on drop on release, and I played like an hour of it, and it was just very, very bad experience. And it made, obviously, I don't know how long ago this has been since it's been released, but I haven't touched it since. So that's how bad of an experience it was for me. So
yeah, I didn't buy it because I waited for the initial reception because like I was like, oh, this game looks awesome. And at this point, I'm like, it's too late. You missed the mark. I'm not going to go buy it now. But I think for me, the one trash game that really just sticks out is being the big Sonic fan I am as Sonic 06. That game was so bad.
Wait, Dan is saying something of Sonic is bad. That's wild.
Sonic had I'm like a big fan of the OG Sonic games. Like I like the side scrolling. And I like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. And then they had a really rough patch for a long time. I mean, you turn into a werewolf, you get a sword, and like you're like that. Bro, I'm like, that's not for me.
Bro, Sonic Unleashed is goated. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just a weird concept. Like, I just want to run sideways and jump on stuff.
But
For me, if I were to pick a recent game, this came out a couple years ago, I would have to say Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. They hyped it up, and they released like an early patch, and you can get online, and you play the story, and then that was it. And then they lost like 90% of their online audience. It kind of wasn't. It didn't live up to the hype, and I was like, oh, that was kind of all right. And then as a kid, I remember playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, and you literally fight a pile of poop, and I'm not making this up. I just remember seeing that. I was like, what the hell am I watching?
That game was hilarious.
Yeah, so like I guess that technically would be a trash game. And then another one is the Lion King game for the Sega Genesis. That game was so difficult.
It was so hard.
I slammed so many controllers into the ground playing that as a kid. I like they made it for Switch. I'm like, I'm not buying that again.
Hell no. Hell no.
Never that.
I would never put myself through that again.
No, I'm traumatized.
Awesome. So you guys want to get into some final thoughts and a little rating on Shangri-La Frontier?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I'm usually a big fan of like good video game anime. I loved SAO for a little bit until they got into like the elf stuff. Then it kind of lost me, but the first bit, was really good to me. So, also I'm kind of curious as like one of my initial concerns about this anime is how they're going to keep us invested, how to keep us interested in this show, because if it's just a like just straight up he's playing this best game blah blah blah, and he's fighting these monsters and going through the routines of the villages and all that towns or whatever, we're obviously it's gonna get stale, and I want to see how they're gonna keep us interested. Obviously they're gonna have to introduce something, or or go a different route or something, but it can't be the same stuff over and over again, or it's gonna lose me on this one. But the music was great, even in the actual story. Like I said, the goblin stuff really caught me up because they done the music really well. Animation and fighting is like really done well too. As I said, pacing is isn't slow at all. It's really fast paced. I love it. I'd probably give like a low 7, honestly, but I'm really concerned about the future.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I feel like we're just watching another copy paste video game story here, and since it's an MMORPG, I need like the big protagonist to not be just like a game boss. Like, I need it to be like a guild, like a dark guild, or like a group of people who are player killing or something like that, to actually add some suspense to it. Watching it, I think it's fun. It's really well animated, but if the story just keeps progressing like it is, it'll probably be like a 5.5 for me. But if they add good story elements to it, I can see it going more like a low mid 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm nervous, where the future is, because I'm thinking this is going to be this typical MMORPG story that we're all used to in animes. I definitely like the characteristics of the main character, because he plays video games a lot like I do. He's getting frustrated. He's like, screw this. I'm gonna grind, and I'm gonna be prepared for this. No, I'll go to the second town first. And I definitely want to see. I wouldn't mind seeing more IRL interactions as well. But if this is just another copy and paste, I'll get a little worried. I don't want it to fall off because, it has such a great start. It's funny. The opener is a banger. And I would like to see it do well. I think for me, I'll give it like a 6.2 for now.
Awesome. So we just talked about 3 shows. Now we got to figure out which 2 we're voting for. And I guess I can go first. And there's 2 clear frontrunners in my mind. Frieren for the story and Undead Unluck for the sheer insanity we're getting set up to watch. I think both those shows are going to have a lot of great plot to discuss. And I mean, if Undead Unluck has me laughing like it did this week every week, I think like we can have such a good time talking about it. It'll be a blast. Have you sorry, Kevin, what do you got?
So I definitely was the biggest fan of Frieren. So I've heard a bunch of anti-tubers talk about it for the past year. And they hyped it up, and it's been on my radar. And when I heard it was being announced, I was like, oh, well, I'll just check it out. And it did not disappoint. I am been enjoying it. I love the world building. I love character development stories, and especially in a fantasy setting. I did not plan on watching Undead Unluck originally, but my goodness, this was such a treat. And again, it's just sometimes you need that laugh, and this is that show. So I'm definitely gonna keep watching that.
Yeah, you know what it kind of gives me vibes of is Kill la Kill.
Yes, yeah,
like that's so out of pocket and ridiculous that you're like, I just want to keep watching this.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm definitely gonna continue watching all 3, but I think Shangri-La Frontier kind of falls down the list as well. It's definitely at the bottom, and by a pretty good margin, I think. Just because of the concerns about the future that I have. But Frieren, on the other hand, it's probably going to be my top show of the fall. Honestly, the way it's going, Undead Unluck is going to be up there as well. It brings like Dan said, the comedic aspect to what we're watching, especially on the rundown. If we do decide to do the Undead Unluck with y'all's help, obviously. But I'm definitely hoping Shangri-La proves me wrong and keeps us interested and makes us regret not having it on the rundown as well. So
we're never doing 6 shows again. That was way too much. But awesome. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Anime Degens Bullshit Hour. Make sure to rate the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. And if you'd like to join our crazy conversations we have in Discord, linktree.com/Anime Degens will give you a link to that. Our Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Tyler's still blasting shorts out. So check those out, and we'll catch you guys next week for the rundown. Peace.
See ya.